we were going to go for another round there.
I took a big old bite of my burrito right before it came over. That was not my best move, but it's so good.
I like how the live show is just like completely casual with us. Like, here we are. We're live.
The whole point is to show people like you don't have to be masters of this stuff. Like it's not that hard.
So true.
I love it. Sometimes I intentionally wear my ball cap. Mm-hmm.
I don't know that that's like on point with what we're talking about. Like, I don't feel like that's like out of character, but you know, whatever. I like it. I mean, I'm into ball caps. I think it's great. I've been looking forward to today for so long because we're finally going to talk about how to unfuck your AI policy for nonprofits. This is like very, very exciting. But before we get into that, I'm really glad that you are safe because
it's been chaos.
Like, what is happening in the Midwest?
So, do you know what a derecho is? I'm going to look up the definition.
I feel like that means either right or left in Spanish.
That's actually hilarious. I bet it is some version of that.
I don't know.
Say that. Yeah. A derecho from Spanish, derecho, which is straight. So it's neither of those things. Oh no! That's awesome.
Oh, that is great. Okay,
that's embarrassing.
Well, something that my wife says when we're driving. So there we go.
Yeah. Anyway, it is a widespread, long-lived straight-line windstorm that's associated with fast-moving complex of severe thunderstorms, referred to as a mesoscale convective system. So basically, what it means is over hundreds of miles, you get a range of 80 to 130 mile per hour straight winds. So think like tornado, but just going one direction.
Yeah.
We had one in South Dakota a few years ago, and I was actually in the middle of that one up in Madison. And this year we didn't think it was coming. And then like people started to flag. And usually once you flag the weather, it's like, well, it's probably not going to happen then. It was probably the worst thing. But I mean, I spent all day yesterday picking up trees and like pulling limbs of other trees out of like off of roofs and out of each other's trees. So I'm here in my hometown of Beersford, South Dakota, but I know like Hudson nearby, they weren't even letting people in and out for a while yesterday. Like it was just horrible. And then of course, last night we got another set of storms. It wasn't quite derecho style, but it was enough to set off the tornado sirens. So things are just crazy up here, but I'm grateful. Yeah. It doesn't sound like there were any casualties. I don't even know that there were really any injuries out here, at least nearby. And I'm very grateful for that. That's one thing, like I make fun of the lack of population, but in some ways it's kind of nice. There's just less things around to hit people. And people got really lucky. There were just so few trees landing on houses, on things. Yeah. I got some blisters today, that's for sure. So I'm a little snoozy, but that's all right.
I'm very glad you're okay.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm grateful as well for me and my family out here. So shout out to the people who maybe are processing through that. And I know not everybody got away as lucky as I feel like I did. So I think that's important to call out too. So thank you for checking in though. Appreciate it.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
I do want to bring on, so we have a couple guests today. One is like our one and only. We need to just stop calling him a guest and just make him a co-host with us at this point.
I think probably.
So if we could do our air horns for Dan Kershaw.
It's awesome.
Welcome back, Dan.
Nice to be back. Air horn.
So nice to have you. All right, Tim, do you want to intro our featured guest today?
Yeah, I'm so excited to introduce Jennifer Owens. Jennifer is the COO at One Valley Community Foundation. We met a few years ago when the executive director of at that time, I think it was I can't even remember, but it was a different name, right?
Bozeman Area Community Foundation.
That's it. Thank you. And we've been friends for a long time. She reached out saying we've got some Salesforce issues, looking at an expensive connector and a big build and maybe redoing everything. And is this the right platform? And after spending like 10 minutes talking with Jennifer, I was like, no. You've got everything you need right here. You just need Jennifer to know exactly how to manage her technology. And so I think within 6 months, like things were smooth sailing because Jennifer is really, really great at just managing things. Digital Driver's Ed was really helpful at the same time. So I think it was really good to see that work out. When Jennifer, when I started working in some of the AI stuff, I reached out to Jennifer and said, what are you thinking about AI? Got this cohort idea. She was like, yeah, let's do it. And one of the first things we started with was policy, and she schooled me. I can't wait to tell you how she schooled me. But Jennifer, thanks so much. Welcome to the show. Really excited to have you here.
Super excited to be here. Thank you. It's great to be here.
Okay, so I want to start this conversation with just your quick download on why AI policy is a thing. Like I've done a lot of tech work. This is the first time I've ever had this many conversations about policy. I frankly thought it didn't matter until now, until AI.
Yeah. So why is AI policy important at all? AI,
Really quickly, for those of you that don't know, Tim is very much the visionary of our group. Tim and Dan are. Jennifer and I, while we can be visionary, we hear him say something like that, and I clearly physically cringe. Jennifer cringes on the inside. She hides it better than I do. We're both like, how do you say things like that out loud and not say it in the most loving way? So
yeah, okay. So let me clarify that, because that's a good point. Yeah. It's not that it doesn't matter; it's where it matters, right? Like this is mattering at if you don't have this down, things are going to go really wrong in a way that cloud systems and cloud services it wasn't the same level of conversation, right?
But
I think that's
more than the tech though, Tim. Like we have harassment policies, we have policies for everything.
Yep.
And when AI is handled poorly or not at all, which is what I usually confront, I don't need to deal with it, is your organization can be traumatically harmed by one innocent little use of pick your tool.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So it's as you always say, 95% of the problem is people, but most people think AI is ChatGPT, and we all well, I should say we all know it isn't. So having a policy is the start of a conversation. I think that's what Jennifer and I were talking about, is it's a policy, capital P, but it's actually an on-ramp for all staff of all levels to be able to engage with it within some boundaries.
So now that all of us have answered for you, Jennifer, what do you think?
I mean, AI meets us at this interesting intersection of people and technology in a different way than all of these other technologies we use, and people use it differently. It's also integrating in all of our systems, whether we expect it to or want it to or not. So sometimes we can look at a new technology and say, nope, we're going to hold off till we understand it and we can figure it out. But with AI, that just simply doesn't work, because every one of our platforms is adding AI in some way just to stay relevant and to stay on top of the competition. And it has so many data privacy concerns can come with AI. They can be mitigated, but you have to understand how it works and how to do that. And as a nonprofit, that accountability to data confidentiality is such a key part of our contract with our community, that we need to be ahead of that and not breach that without knowing it. And the policy helps us set the stage to do that well.
I feel like as I was preparing for this conversation, what kept coming up over and over was, how would people possibly be able to write an AI policy given how much conflicting information exists out there about AI? And it's conflicting, but not inaccurate. It's just, like, there are privacy concerns, and it also is too important to ignore, and all the rest. And so I feel like it's one of the most important things I want to communicate today when we're talking about fucked up AI policies is, don't feel bad about that. There's no shame in this. Like, this is organizations doing their best in a very, very stochastic world, right? So and I feel like you've done such a good job of holding the balance where, you've moved forward as you can. And as you and your organization have gotten more clear about the things that matter, your confidence and the stability of that policy has just exploded, which I think has been really, really fun to watch.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And we were totally bogged down in it before you reached out and invited me to this AI enablement cohort, because there were great packages of tools out there with some of the major nonprofit industry leaders. Went to those and we were overwhelmed, and we couldn't figure out how to scale that to our size of a small to mid-sized nonprofit. We don't have an IT department. I can't assess all of these tools in really technical terms. I'm the COO, and I, have to do all the IT and, numerous other things. And so we needed a way to give us a framework for evaluating tools and a framework for using them that met us where we were. And that's where we were able to get in the cohort together. But before that, we were just lost as to how to operationalize it.
Yeah, I feel like
a really good point. I'm sorry. I want to ask Jennifer, because I know we're going to go into the technicalities in our webinar after this, which, Tim, do you want to make sure to put the link just on the LinkedIn?
Oh, yeah, right.
So people can register for it if they want to be part of the 90-minute after this, where we really get into it. Jennifer, if you could give us your, because I know this is a shortened AI for Anyone Live today, because you are going into a 90-minute with all of us, and really getting into this. So I would love just your sort of synopsis of how you and Tim got here, because you mentioned that if it wasn't for the AI enablement cohort, and I remember some of the early conversations you and Tim were having with our group about this. And so it'd be really interesting just to hear your perspective of how you got here. And then I think maybe I might ask Tim to give us kind of a high level of what sort of some of the sections we'll go over in this 90-minute.
Yeah. Well, about February of 2024, we tasked a staff member with drafting us a policy, sent them some of the resources out there from some of the big national groups. He came back with a reasonable draft, but then we looked at it as a team, and what we needed next in that document was an actual evaluation framework. How do we look at a tool and see what does it have, what boxes does it have to check in order to be something we use or not use? What's our criteria? And we couldn't determine that. And the tools were great, but we couldn't get to that point. And so they were just too broad. And so at that point we stopped and we said, we can't move this forward. It just kind of sat there, and we ignored AI for a while until Tim reached out with this opportunity. Then Tim sent me this AI policy. He's like, hey, here's an AI policy. You can just, slap your brand on it, use this. And it was 15 pages long. And I have a lot of policies. We're accredited. We have lots of them. And I don't think any of them are 15 pages long.
That's where I say, Tim's I got this. And Jennifer and I are like, but do you?
I remember Jennifer very politely. I think this is the most direct pushback I've ever gotten from Jennifer. Jennifer was like, "This is not a policy." I was like, "Oh, okay." She was like, "This is procedure. This is some starter notes. This is not a policy." And absolutely right. And is one of the reasons I'm so excited to show you the template. But yes, you were right. That was not a policy.
But it was a good starting place. So then I just started, dividing it into policy and procedure, like you just mentioned, and then just cutting, right, and trimming. And we were able to get from there to a really great policy and procedure that is guiding what we're doing today.
Sorry, you can tell I'm struggling to get I was trying to get the QR code up here so we could
got it.
Let people and not cover Jennifer's face at the same time. This is not easy.
And I just want to put some context. What Jennifer's done applies to 75% or more of the nonprofits and charities in North America, because most of them have 4 or less people. They don't have IT teams, CIOs, and all of the things. So, we're not a hospital. We're not a university. We're wearing many, many hats, and we'll always wear many, many hats.
Absolutely.
And my own experience, we started in 2023, same thing. Just you have to start, and like figuring out a way to actually make it sustainable, viable, your board's happy, staff are happy, they can at least have conversations. That is the goal right now. And ignoring it, like, I'll just wait until AI finishes. It's not the way.
Yeah. Well, that was the one thing that I think when I was trying to help, because I was with Jennifer, right? Like there's a difference between procedure and policy, which God knows Jennifer and I could at least get into that. But we won't today. But one thing that it really was hard to hit was that piece of like AI is fundamentally like revolutionizing daily, right? Like the tools we use today, wildly different. Like I had not really used Google Gemini until we started this series. And the only reason we did was because it's the most accessible for nonprofits to enable across an organization.
Mm-hmm.
How do you approach something like that with a policy that can also apply to individualized use of Claude, ChatGPT, Grok, Meta AI, like all of these different things? And those are just the language learning models. Like, how do you define what AI is for everybody? And then I start to think like Tim wasn't probably all that wrong with a 15-page policy because there's so many damn definitions in there. And so, Jennifer, I think what you and Tim were able to come up with, and I'm so excited to hear more, because I know I've just heard bits and pieces as you guys have gone along, but I'm just so excited to hear more about how you were able to take that and like framework it almost like you said, it's got an evaluation matrix almost of here is how this can apply to all AI moving forward. And yes, things are going to change, but policies inherently should be really static. They shouldn't change much because they should fit dynamically. And so I think that's really, really cool. I do want to give you guys a chance because I know we're on limited time today. I want you to give us like a quick overview of what it is we're going to hear. What are the sections? What can people expect in the next 90 minutes? And it starts right after this, right? It starts at 10:30 Central.
In 9 minutes, we're starting it. Yeah, for 90 minutes.
Give us the overview, Tim.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, I want to make sure that we've got the right link here. So, Wyan, thanks for letting us know that we've got the wrong one. Is that the QR code? Can you just double check that?
It's working for me.
Good. Yes. Okay, good. Glad to hear that. So in 90 minutes, what we're going to cover some of the fears that hold people back. Why is this such a big deal? I love that Jennifer's team had the confidence to hit pause. I agree that hitting pause indefinitely is not the right move, but when you get stuck and you just aren't sure where to go next, it is fine to hit pause for a while. So that's a pro move, and it was responsive, not reactive. So one of the main things we'll talk about is how to be responsive, not reactive, in an environment of high uncertainty, which AI is always high uncertainty. It's an emergent world, right? So that's one thing we're going to talk about. There are 6 sticking points that I noticed nonprofits getting stuck on every single time, and they relate to myths. And so we're going to talk about misunderstandings.
I didn't know how big it was going to pop up. It took up the whole page.
That is so misunderstandings. We're going to be talking about that. We will see Sammy in 5 minutes when she's done laughing, but that was hilarious. So we're going to talk about those misunderstandings. Then we're going to actually look at the template. I'm shocked. This will not surprise any of you. I'm shocked at how short it is. It's not very big. Turns out. So we're going to cover that, and then we're going to give a link to that template, so organizations can just go in and fill that out.
I think the Mike Tyson picture worked for short too. I just needed to point out that was intentional.
It was great. It was perfect. The big overarching thing I want to say here is that the paper is not important. It's the conversations behind it. That's what's important. And I feel like that is one of the things that Jennifer's team gets right. And you can see it through their process, which I watched Jennifer walk it through. And so I think that that's roughly what we're going to be covering. Maybe a little bit of historics on why so many nonprofits have fucked up AI policies. Like what are the reasons for that? Which I think there are some really good reasons for it. So Jennifer, am I missing anything?
No, I think we're going to really walk through some of the guidelines we set up for our team, what the core components of our policy are, and how we broke through that barrier of not knowing what our criteria can be to come up with a couple really common sense criteria that it brought everything into relief and helps us guide every AI evaluation now going forward.
I'm so excited. The nerd in me is just like living today. I'm so grateful. So just so everybody knows, it will be, so if they go to this link, it takes them then, are we live? Is the webinar on LinkedIn, Tim?
No, the webinar is not on LinkedIn. Thank you for asking. When you go to that, there's an event link, which is to just my personal Zoom link. Not a big fancy webinar link. I didn't expect 57 people to sign up, which is great. I think it's awesome. I know it's great. So we're doing this really pretty casually, just like hop in. We're gonna have a conversation and talk about all of this. We'll leave time for questions and yeah, and it's starting in 5 minutes. So
I'm thinking what I'll do is instead of ending the live at like 10:30-ish, I may leave it on for about 5 minutes and just have the Zoom link QR
good
code.
idea. Yeah.
Just tell people like, hey, join us for our 90-minute webinar. It's free for everybody.
Yeah.
This QR code, and I'll put the link up in like a whatever, one of the captions or something, so people can see it if they hop in a little later or they're wondering, and I can hang out. So Tim and Jennifer, I might just be a little late, so I'll hang out on here in case people hop in and ask questions. Because I know I want to give you guys a couple seconds before you have to hop in there. So I think if each of you could give us like, what's the one thing that surprised you about the process? So like Tim, I would assume yours is going to be like how short it ended up being, or well, truly, right? Like you gave a 15-page document. You're like, actually, we don't need that long. So really quick, rapid fire, like what is one thing that you think people will be surprised after they sort of like hear the webinar and like pleasantly surprised?
I think we were able to pick a component of our standard operations, confidentiality, and hinge the majority of our decision making on that one thing, something we do every day. We evaluate in every conversation, and it's so integral to who we are. And that using that as a lens and applying it to AI was really a breakthrough moment for us.
Oh, I love that.
I think. Go ahead, Dan.
For me, it was you spent a specific time around note takers because everybody's got them and there's a zillion of them. So I find the way you've broken it out is actually quite elegant and sustainable.
Thanks.
I feel like Jennifer broke my brain when she broke down, here's what the board needs, here's what staff need, and here's the guidelines that, that everybody needs, and showing me how that affects day-to-day decisions on what gets approved by whom was just mind-blowing. And I think that to me, that feels like a huge cheat code that everybody should be paying attention to. So that is policy versus procedure, which I'm sure all of you know a lot about, but I did not. So I think that has been really interesting to see that intersection. All right, so we're going to hop off. Sammy, thanks for sticking around. We'll see all of you on Zoom in just 2 minutes. Can't wait to see you there. And yeah, thanks. Thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jennifer. Thank you, Dan, for joining us as always. Jennifer, I'm so excited. I know you and I hit it off really early on. We met through the Upskillerator before I was working with the Human Stack and really just a participant. And I think I have had so much fun learning from and then with you. And so like I've watched you guys build this policy from like afar. And so I'm really excited. I actually don't know a whole lot about what we're going to see because I'm here to help with the production side and learn from like a regular old Joe on the side. So I'm just so excited to see it. And I'm really grateful that you're willing to give us some of this time to show all the others that like this can totally happen, right? Like it's totally possible. So thank you so much. And I will see you guys over there.
Great.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Hi, everybody. It's still me. I'm going to put up the QR code. Oh, Dan's still here. Do you want to say hi to everybody before you leave? This is my fun. This is the fun part about me being able to run the show when Tim leaves.
Yeah. No, it's been fun. I've been bringing together our old 2023, obviously deep researching it, canvassing it, I guess vibe coding it into what will our 2025 version be.
Oh my god!
Because that's the important thing. We don't need to invent. We need to borrow the best ideas from everybody and just get on with it.
Your deep research just like... I've actually finally started. I feel like last week's vibe coding was the first time that I was like, okay, I got this. Like, I understand how to use it better. So I'm super pumped. And you and I have kind of been in the same boat of like watching them build this. Like we've been more involved than our other sort of cohort mates, but not so much that we really know everything we're about to see. So I'm actually really excited.
Yeah.
We've got just enough to know a little bit about how the sausage is made, but not completely. So
no, and it really, no matter what the paper is, it comes down to every employee, regardless of their role, be it the C level or somebody who just started yesterday. If they can't engage with it, it'll fail. It will fail.
Yeah.
It's people.
Crazy. All right, you hop on over there. I'm going to go off camera here and I'll watch the chat. If people have anything, I'll probably pop back on before I head out. But I am going to send along. Let me find my QR code here. So this one,
it's the usual Zoom link, right?
Yes. Yeah. So for you, you don't have to change anything. But for those that aren't joining our usual Zoom link, this is it. So, all right. Bye, Dan. Like I said, everybody, I'm going to add a caption here so we can see. I wonder. Let's try lower third here. Join us now for our free webinar. Scan the QR code to join. Let's see what that looks like when I add that to the screen, huh? This is me playing with our... Oh, I can only do... Wait, what if I hide this? I've got that as a lower third, and then can I still have the QR code? Nope. Okay, but I can do the little ticker thing if you guys saw the little like... Which is super fun for me. I'm going to be honest, I feel a little weird just like talking to nobody, but here we are. It's super fun. Okay, I'm going to put scan the QR code to join us for our free webinar happening now. Now, and exclamation points. Whoop, whoop. All right, I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. I'm going to turn my camera off, and I will see you all in a bit. Hope you all join us. Excited to see you.